started talking USC and, Matt Barkley and what's going on with them. They have a bad loss to Stanford 2 weeks ago almost, and then they have a pretty decent rebound game against Cal this past Saturday. But, you had great performance. You got Marquise Lee. This kid's serious, 11 catches, 94 yards. The running back, Silas Redd, gave them 158 yards and a touchdown. They also had another running back, Curtis McNeil. I have no idea how to spell that one. McNeil also rushed for 115 yards. So that was actually the first time they had 200-yard rushers since 2008. Their defense looked good, holding Cal to 250 yards and sacked the quarterback, Zach Maynard, 7 times. But Barkley only had 192 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So
he hasn't been the player everyone's expected him to be this year.
Yeah, so what me and Eric were talking about was, is there maybe too much pressure right now on Matt Barkley? With him coming back, unfinished business, had the whole big presser, after last season of, I'm not going to the NFL, I'm coming back, we have unfinished business to do here. Is there too much pressure or added pressure, or is he just, is the pressure is there too much? Because, you got to keep in mind, the first 3 years the kid's playing for him, they're banned. They can't do anything because of the Reggie Bush stuff. So that sort of takes a little weight off your shoulder, and the fact that all we got to do is go play games. No matter what we do, we're not going to get to what we want to get to anyway. So let's go out there and just smack people around, try to dominate and win games, because that's really all we're going to have to rest our hat on. So, do you think the pressure of the being able to go for a Heisman, being able to go for the national championship is too much for Matt Barkley? Or is it just strictly a case of teams have had enough time to sort of go at him? I don't really know how to look at this.
They were supposed to be great on both sides of the ball. They were supposed to have a good, they do have a good offense. They do have weapons on the outside in Woods and Lee. They got running back Red from Penn State, who's come in done a great job. Barkley himself, I think he put the pressure on himself by coming back. He didn't have to come back.
No.
He came back because the people around him were probably like, listen, you can go into the draft this year. You're probably going to be the third, fourth quarterback drafted behind RG3, behind Luck.
Some people had him up there competing with Luck and RG3 as a top quarterback.
He would have been the third one taken.
I actually do agree, based on what I was able to watch of the three of them. I agree.
Think what kind of got in his head is he said, listen, well, everybody's picking us to be the favorite. Everyone's saying if I stay in college another year, even if I don't win the Heisman, as long as I'm in the running, I'm probably going to be the top quarterback taken off the board next year. I think those things played into his head as well. So when he came back this year, he just figured, oh, well, we're USC. We're ranked number 2. We're going to roll. And they got upset by Stanford, and now I think they're kind of unsure about themselves. And I think Matt Barkley himself is unsure of himself.
No less
He
confident.
hasn't looked great. He didn't look great that game they played Syracuse either.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
He was a little off that game. He wasn't himself during this Cal game. They're an offense that's built to put up a lot of points.
And they're 27. No disrespect to Cal, but you expect them to put up more than that. I do like what Fife put in the chat room. He mentions the fact that Barkley can say whatever he wants about unfinished business and all that, but Fife believes that it was a money decision. Why enter a draft with RG3 and Luck when you can wait one more year? Let's be serious. It's not like these kids are sacrificing something by staying another year. You are the star quarterback on one of the biggest colleges in the country. You are the man on campus. Yeah, everybody likes you. Everybody knows who you are. All the girls want you. All the guys want to be friends with you. All the teachers are passing you. It's not like he's sacrificing struggles and hard times.
No, but
to
it's
stay.
also where he goes to school. Matt Leinart had this problem too of you get to live the SoCal life. You get to live the LA lifestyle. You're going out to the clubs, you're partying, you're having fun, you're doing whatever you want. I mean, his class schedule probably isn't the hardest either.
No,
so,
he probably doesn't even have to be at class till like 2 in the afternoon.
You know, it's set up, you know, he's not stepping up to the plate, and I think it does come down to the pressure situations like you were talking about a minute ago of the last few years. He hasn't had much pressure on him because no matter what the team did, they couldn't really go anywhere. They could only hit the ceiling. Even if they had a great year, they weren't making national championship games. They were banned. And when the pressure is finally on him and he has a year where he can prove himself and prove his team to be the best team out there, he is coming up short. His receivers have been great. They're not coming up short.
No.
His running backs are coming up great. They're not coming up short.
No.
The defense has played well enough to win some games. It's Matt Barkley himself that hasn't been doing what he's supposed to do, or what he came back to do, I should say.
I completely agree with you, and I think a lot of it is connected with the fact that, you know, like you said, I mean, this guy is in a situation where the world almost revolves around him right now in his life. And he also, even with how he's played so far, is still probably considered the best quarterback that's going to be going into the NFL draft as of right now.
Yeah, he probably is. You know, it's not going to stop people from drafting him, I don't think. I think he'll be the first quarterback off the board, but I just don't think maybe if they finish the season out without getting in the title picture, without getting in a BCS Bowl, and he continues to struggle like he has, or not put up the numbers that he's been putting up the last few years, maybe teams look at him and he may not be a top 10 pick. Maybe he's a top 15. Maybe he's somewhere in the 10 to 15 range instead of a top 10.
It's really all based on who falls where when it comes down to the NFL season. I mean, you know, if, say, I'm trying to think of teams that haven't looked too good. Say the Saints, right now, 0-3. Say somehow they have such a bad year, they have the number one pick in this year's draft. They're not taking Matt Barkley. They just gave Drew Brees a 5-year, $100 million contract. So, boom, there you go. You already lost one draft spot. Like, sometimes it's as much based on who is drafting where as it is on the players that are coming out. And based on your team, you don't have the type of leverage where, like, St. Louis had the leverage because you have a Sam Bradford, but you had enough holes that the Redskins knew they had to trade with you because they knew you could use that draft pick on something and they couldn't be guaranteed to move up and beat out a team that could have used Robert Griffin. But either which way, I do want to point out one other thing Fife put in our chat room because I actually think it's a good question to ask. He's pointing out some of the similarities between Matt Barkley and Matt Leinart. And pretty much, you know, the main question that he was trying to get to is, do we think that Barkley's career mirrors Leinart's? Because Leinart was drafted to be a starter.
Didn't Leinart win a national championship? Yeah. So
yes,
that's where it doesn't mirror his career at USC. Does it mirror maybe do their social lives maybe mirror each other? Maybe. But I don't think their careers necessarily, you know, merit the comparison.
Fair enough, and I definitely can understand where you're coming from with that. Matt Leinart, though, I mean, we all know what happened with him. He got drafted to be a starter and turns into a backup, and now I think he's a backup's backup at this point of his career. Now, let's be serious here. I will take the salary of a backup's backup in the NFL. Not complaining about it. But when you came out the way you came out, you definitely got to sit there and say you're disappointed in what your NFL career has turned into so far. That's just my opinion.